In tonight's Tax Insider, more budget gridlock. House Speaker Paul Ryan promised to return to regular order when he replaced John Boehner last October. That promise appears to be in jeopardy. This week, Senate GOP leaders delayed action on the annual budget blueprint. The House is also gridlocked on its own plan. Joining me with the latest is David Williams, president of the nonpartisan Taxpayers Protection Alliance. So, Dave, what's the holdup?
Well, Morris, the honeymoon is over for Paul Ryan.
I guess so.
And this is because conservatives last year, they kind of swallowed a bitter pill when John Boehner increased his spending caps by $80 billion. And it wasn't just John Boehner, but obviously it was the president and the Democrats, but they agreed to $80 billion more in spending. So now the conservatives are upset at that, and they want to reduce spending, but also you have to look at the landscape of the election, is that you have people that are really upset with Congress, with the spending, with Washington. So I think conservatives are trying to take a stand here and say, listen, we want less spending. We're not going to accept the higher number. So there's a lot that's at work right now.
Top Senate leaders of both parties say they want to get the appropriation process back on track. If they don't, and I can't believe I'm saying this again, we're looking at another omnibus spending bill at the end of 2016. Look into your crystal ball, Dave. What's the future look like?
Well, my crystal ball has been broken for years.
Shattered.
I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely shattered.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to agree with the premise that both parties want to pass an appropriations process. And I'll tell you why, Morris, is because if they did, they would. If really the leaders of both parties wanted to pass appropriations, we would not be in this mess. And the Senate has a number of problems. First of all, they're waiting for the House to take their action on appropriations. Plus, we have a year where they're not in session all that much. It's 115 days in session for the whole year. We're in March, so they only have about 80 or 90 days left of the session. So this is a lot of work they have to do. So it's just not in our favor for them to do anything other than an omnibus bill.
Let's move on to the Affordable Care Act now. Tax preparation company H&R Block says many people who went without health insurance last year are seeing their fines more than double. In 2015, the average fine is $383 compared to $172 in 2014. What happened?
Well, this is really sneaky because in 2014, they called this the shared responsibility tax. Now, think about that. That's very Orwellian, shared responsibility tax. People don't care what you call it. It's a tax.
Yeah.
It was 1% of your income, or $95. In 2015, it was 2% of your income. And 2016, 2.5%. So the tax keeps on increasing, which makes it more difficult to keep track of it. And after 2016, it rises with inflation. So it's going to be even more that people are paying. So we're seeing this every year. People are paying more if they don't have health insurance.
H&R Block says it expected a lot of confusion last year. The company was surprised that confusion carried over to 2015. Why all the uncertainty, Dave?
Well, I wasn't surprised that there's confusion because you have this increase in the tax, and it's going to be increasing every year. You have the employer mandate that's now going to be in effect for 2016. And Morris, this is really about a bigger issue. This is about tax reform. Is that Obamacare made the tax code a lot more complicated. It's already 4 million words or 74,000 pages. We need to simplify it. And so I'm surprised that H&R Block is surprised by this because they know exactly how complex the tax code is. And that's what we're saying, is that, whether it's Obamacare or corporate tax or individual tax, we need tax reform. That would solve a lot of our problems.
If you like your CPA, you can keep your CPA.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the Postal Service. You're following the expiration of something called the exigent surcharge. What does that mean, and why should the average American care?
So the exigent surcharge is a fancy word for a temporary increase in first-class mail postage.
Oh boy.
And this was done back in 2013 in response to the 2007-2009 recession. It took them 4 years to get this surcharge put in, but they did. It's supposed to expire in April. Well, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program or increase at this point. And the Postal Regulatory Commission, they want to keep their increase.
Sure.
They don't want to bring the prices down on first-class mail, so they're trying to keep this increase and really mask the true size of what their deficit is in the Postal Service, which last year was $5 billion.
Incredible. Keep up the great work. David Williams, president of the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.